यमुनातीरावनचारि हरे राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय राम। जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतस्य श्रीमद् डिवाइन ग्रेस अभे चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्लोक प्रभुपाद की जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतस्य श्रीमद् डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद महाराज की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचर श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवत की ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. I would like to welcome all devotees for today morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class. I seek your blessings and prayers that we can discuss something that will please the Lord, that may glorify the process of devotion, and that may also be satisfying to the Vaishnavas. So today we have been given 3 verses or 2 purports, text 14 and text 15 and 16. 14 is on the board. We will read and we will discuss. So text 14 first. Iti vigyapito devair. Iti vigyapito deve. Bhagavan Atma Bhurnirpa. Bhagavan Atma Bhurnirpa.
भगवान आत्मभूर्निर्पा
Parito Brigudakshadye.
परीतो भृगुदक्षाद्यै
Parito Brigudakshadye.
परीतो भृगुदक्षाद्यै
ययौ दैतेश्वराश्रमम्
ययौ दैत्येश्वराश्रमम्
ययौ दैतेश्वराश्रमम्
ययौ दैत्येश्वराश्रमम्
इति विज्ञापितो देवै
इति विज्ञापितो देवै
भगवान् आत्मभूर्नृपा
भगवान् आत्मभूर्नृपा
परितो भृगुदक्षाद्यै
परितो भृगुदक्षाद्यै
ययौ दैतेश्वराश्रमम्
यदो दैत्येश्वराश्रमम् विज्ञापितो देवैर् भगवान् आत्मभूर्नृपा परितो भृगुदक्षाद्यैर् तयो दैत्येश्वराश्रमम् इति विज्ञापितो देवैर् भगवान् आत्मभूर्नृपा परितो भृगुदक्षाद्यैर् ययो दैत्येश्वराश्रमम्.
Okay, word to word translation. Iti, thus, vigyapite. informed Devaihi by all the demigods, Bhagavan, the most powerful, Atmabhu, Lord Brahma, was born from the lotus flower. Nirpa, O king, Paritah, being surrounded, Bhrigu, by Bhrigu, Daksha, Adhyayi, and others, Yayo, went, Daita Ishvara, of Hiranyakashipu, the king of the Daityas, Ashramam, to the place of austerity. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: O king, being thus informed by the demigods, the most powerful Lord Brahma, accompanied by Bhrigu, Daksha, and the other great sages, immediately started for the place where Hiranyakashipu was performing his penances and austerity. So, Hare Krishna. So, today we're going to look at some discussion points. So, Krishna willing, we'll discuss 4 lessons that we can learn from the benedictions given by Brahma and the austerities performed by Hiranyakashipu, based on the purport that Srila Prabhupada has given. If we see this verse, there are very interesting words that are used. 2 interesting words. One is Bhagavan, which is used for Brahma. This we have seen in many places across Prabhupada's writings and in the Shastra, that Bhagavan denotes a very powerful person. So Bhagavan means one who has all bhaga, one who has all opulence. Generally, it denotes the Supreme Lord, but it can also denote other people. Sometimes Narad is called Bhagavan. Sometimes the great personality, Lord Shiva, is called Bhagavan. Here, Brahma is called Bhagavan. Now, one may argue they don't have all the attributes of Bhagavan. Why are they called Bhagavan? This is the mercy of Bhagavan. The Lord is so, how do you say, not insecure that he's willing to share his title with someone, although they may not be seemingly qualified for it. Right? If a person is, let's say, not a crorepati, he has some lakhs, but you call him, hey, crorepati, becomes an insult, isn't it? But everyone still calls him crorepati, because he has more money than anyone else. But he's just a lakhpati. So similarly, and Shiva, they may not be Bhagavan in the sense of the definition given by the father of Vyasadev, but here they carry the same title. So that's interesting in this verse. So the first word is Bhagavan. Second, which is interesting, is Brahma. He was informed by the Devatas, right? He was informed by the Devatas, and he went to see Hiranyakashipu. And it's mentioned that here he went to the ashramam. In the word-to-word translation, Srila Prabhupada says, ashrama is the place of austerities. So whether, we all have Varna ashram system, where you have 4 kinds of ashramas. So in one sense, the purpose of an ashram is not only to give shelter, be it brahmacharya ashram, grihastha ashram, vanaprastha ashram, or sannyas ashram. The purpose of an ashram is not only to give shelter, but the purpose of an ashram is a place that we can perform austerities to better ourselves. And therefore, we encourage people to stay in one of the 4 ashramas. Right? We don't want people to be in between ashramas, because there will be no austerity, there will be no shelter. So it's a very interesting translation by Srila Prabhupada gives. Ashramam here means the place of shrama, the place where shram hote hai, where some mehnat hote hai. Okay, so these are the 2 interesting words from the beginning of this verse. Now let us go into the purport. In the purport here, it's mentioned that Brahma. Oh, I didn't read the purport, right? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Brahma was waiting for the austerities performed by Hiranyakashipu to mature, just like all the farmers are waiting for the mangoes to mature right now, isn't it? When the mangoes, pakega, everyone, not only farmers, everyone, visitors are more eager than the farmers. So Lord Brahma was also waiting for the austerities of Hiranyakashipu to mature, so that he could go there and offer benedictions according to Hiranyakashipu's desire. Now taking the opportunity of being accompanied by all the demigods and great saintly persons, Brahma went there to award him the benediction he desired. So this gives us a very beautiful lesson here,
very clearly. So the first lesson we'll discuss today is how the devatas are bound by their responsible work, but the Supreme Lord is beyond obligations. We see here the word, it says that Brahma was waiting. When the austerities are complete, then he has to go. Right? So here shows how, in many discussions we have seen before, that the difference between the glorified devatas as well as the Supreme Lord, they have to wait, or they are obliged to give the fruits. So Brahma could not give it before, Brahma has to give it after. But the Supreme Lord is not like that. The Supreme Lord is supremely independent, Swarat. Even if you do austerities for a million years, if he's not pleased, he will not give his mercy. Right? Bahu janma kori yade shravana kirtan, tabutana paye Krishna, pode prema dhan. Bahu janma kori, even if so much lives you take doing Shravan Kirtan, the Lord is not pleased, one is offensive, he will not appear. So the Lord is supremely Swarat. There's no mechanical process or rule to bound the Lord. But the Devatas they have. Just like when you go to an office, a government office, and if you fill up all the forms, you sign up everything, right? They are supposed to accept your document. If not, they'll keep rejecting, na? ये नहीं है, वो नहीं है, Xerox करके आओ, Aadhaar card नहीं है. They'll keep pushing. But if you have all the documents, they have to accept it, even if they don't like you. They have to accept it. So the Devatas are like that. They have to accept the documents of Hiranyakashipu here. So Brahma went to collect the documents and offer whatever benediction. But so there's a nice analogy, the difference between the Devatas as well as the Supreme Lord. Many times we hear this analogy of a shopkeeper and a father. A child may be desirous of something. Let's say a child is desirous to buy a cigarette or something like that. He wants to try it out, 10 rupees, 5 rupees, whatever it may be. He goes to the father and says, "My dear father, please give me some money." Father says, "Okay, sure. What do you want to get?" "I want to get a cigarette." Will the father give the money? No, the father give him a slap under the cheek, isn't it? How can you be so bold? How can you ask like this? Not good for you. But if that same child gets some money and goes to the shopkeeper and gives it, shopkeeper doesn't care. You have the money, I have the mal and money, isn't it? I have the stuff, you have the money. You give me the money, I give you the cigarette. Shopkeeper doesn't bother. It's a transaction. So similarly, the devatas function as a business transaction. You fulfill all the requirements, you will get it. So, but we also must remember that the devatas are representatives of the Supreme Lord in a sense, they are also devotees. So the devatas not only have a professional side where they have to give you what, if you fulfill all the requirements, but the devatas also have a professional and a personal side where they are devotees of the Lord. This is our Gaudiya understanding also. Although they may not be pure devotees, but they're still devotees. They're mixed devotees. So, of course, because there's only one Supreme. Ekale Ishvara Krishna, Ara Sabha Bhritya. There's only one Supreme. So the demigods even have a devotee side. And therefore, if a jiva is a little sincere in his prayers, a little sincere in his approach towards that official, the devata may also bestow some benediction. We see in the Bhagavatam, Kubera bestowed some benediction to Dhruva because Dhruva was very sincere. He wanted bhakti. We see Lord Shiva bestowed benedictions to the Prachetas because the Prachetas were very sincere. So, similarly, anyone in this world, if they approach any devata but sincerely, just like a person goes to a government office and he submits all his forms, but he says that actually, he shows some sincerity. Sometimes the government official feels a bit bad. He says, okay, I tell you what, you come 2 o'clock, right? The bank manager is free. I'll personally take you. Right? You come 2 o'clock, lunch के बाद थोड़ा free है. I'll take you to the bank manager. बात करेंगे, हो जाएगा. Because you see, the person is so sincere, isn't it? Everyone is looking for sincerity in this world, yes or no? A teacher looks for sincerity in the students. The students look for sincerity in the teacher. Everyone, a shopkeeper is looking sincerity in customers, don't cheat me. Customers are looking sincerity in the shopkeeper, don't put something in my food. Right? So similarly, the devatas are also looking for sincerity in the worshippers. When they find it, they will say, okay, now better you go and take Krishna Bhakti. That's the real stuff. So they have that capability. There are some interesting purports in Bhagavatam in the earlier sections where Srila Prabhupada writes about the worship of devatas. I'm particularly referring to 1.2.26. It's a nice shloka. Mumukshavo ghora rupan hitva bhutva patin atha narayana kalashanta bhajantihi anasuyava. It's mentioned here that the devotees, the brahmanas who are, this 1.2.26, the devotees, the brahmanas who are situated in Sattvagun, they have no grudges towards the method of worship of others. So Vaishnavas do not mind how others are worshipping. They feel bad that this is the right method of worship, but we, okay, understand. They have no grudges. They have respect for all the devatas, although they may look ghora rupan. What is ghora rupan? Ghastly, scary, frightful. So Prabhupada gives some example, Kala Bhairava, and Mahakali, for example. But they understand. They know very well, Prabhupada says, that these are all the horrible features of the Supreme Lord and are all different servitors of the Lord under different conditions. Conditions of Tamagun, conditions of Rajagun, right? But they reject the worship of both the horrible forms of the Devas and the attractive forms of the Devas, right? Like maybe Mahadev is very attractive, or some other Devatas are very attractive also, but they're horrible and attractive. Both they reject. Why? Because they want to only concentrate on the forms of Vishnu because they are serious about liberation. So this is the main clincher. Mumukshubi, one who's serious about liberation, will not be attracted to the ghastly, nor attracted to the attractive forms. But they want Vishnu because he can give liberation. In that purport, 1.2.26, Prabhupada continues. He gives the example of Hiranyakashipu, which we are discussing now. Hiranyakashipu underwent a severe type of penance to become eternal in life, but his worshipable deity Brahma could not satisfy him. Therefore, Vishnu and no one else is called Muktipad, right? The personality who can bestow mukti. The devatas, being like other living entities in the material world, are liquidated at the time of annihilation. Very nice word, liquidated, isn't it? They have an existence, but they have no immediate existence. They're liquid form, liquidated, isn't it? Like liquidate your assets, you sell it off, right? So they themselves are unable to get liberation. How can they give liberation to others? This is the only reason that the candidates for liberation, the mumukshubis, the devotees, they reject the worship of the devatas, although Prabhupada reiterates they have no disrespect for any one of them. So sometimes, especially today, in this age, people accuse the Vaishnavas of being very fanatical. They accuse Srila Prabhupada of, maybe being a bit disrespectful. But it's the reality that uh, like Srila Prabhupada writes very boldly, that those who are interested in liberation, they will not interest in the worship. So this is the only clause. If someone asks, like, why you don't worship so and so? No, I respect. We have here in our eco village an emblem, a symbol of respect, where we have, different devatas also, like Ganesh ji, Lord Shiva, we have Devi. So many personalities are there, isn't it? So there's a symbol of respect, but there's also an understanding. There's one more beautiful verse which in the purport, which Prabhupada speaks about this. This is the Daksha and Shiva section. This is 4.2.35. 4.2.35, where Srila Prabhupada talks about the same thing, about worship of the devatas. In the purport, he quotes this verse from Bhagavad Gita, kamais taistai hritagyana prapadyante anya devata. He says that those who are fulfilled with lust, they will go to the demigods to fulfill their material benedictions, like this. Then he quotes Chakravarti Pad in his commentary, who uses the word nashta buddhaya, those who have bad intelligence, right, wrong intelligence, lost their intelligence. He said such people will only worship the devatas. Why? Because they want material benefit. But then Prabhupada writes in the line, of course, such persons care for demigods, devatas, and want to derive material benefits. Of course, this does not mean that one should not show respect to the devatas. Okay, this doesn't mean that one should not show respect, but there is no need to worship them. Then Prabhupada gives a beautiful example. Okay, one who is honest in their daily life is very faithful to the government. He does not need to bribe the government servants. one who's very honest in life, you're faithful to the government, you serve the government, you follow the government serves you. You don't need to bribe the servants of the government, right? Prabhupada continues, bribery is illegal. Avidhi purvakam. Bribery is illegal. One does not bribe a government servant, but that does not mean that one does not show disrespect. Right? You may not bribe the government servant, but there's no need to disrespect him also. Prabhupada mentions that. It's a very interesting example. Okay. Then a question in the next paragraph, Prabhupada writes, but there is a verse that Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that worshipping the devatas is avidhi purvakam. It's just an indirect method. So that means worshipping God and worshipping the devatas are the same. But Prabhupada says the problem here, it is not regulated. Okay, the devatas are parts and parcels, but they're not the whole. Then Prabhupada quotes his analogy of watering the root and watering the plants. Last paragraph, Prabhupada writes as a conclusion, thus worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can satisfy all the devas, but by worshipping the devas, one cannot completely worship the Supreme Lord because they're just parts. Therefore, worships of the devatas is irregular and it's disrespectful to the scriptural injunctions. So it's a very interesting understanding. This first lesson we get that Brahma is bound, obliged to fulfill the desires of Hiranyakashipu. Because people ask a question, Brahma knows that he's the largest terrorist, then why is he supplying arms to him? Brahma knows that Hiranyakashipu is a bad person. Why is he supplying power arms to him, making things even worse, isn't it? In today's modern day language we're speaking. So, but Brahma says, I'm helpless, right? I'm bound, I'm obliged. So, in summary, from this section of the first lesson, on these two purports that we see, I'll just summarize what we have seen. We have seen that there is no need to disrespect the devas, but there's no need to worship them. Why? First point, because they cannot offer liberation. Devotees are interested in liberation, they're not interested in the perks of life. The devatas are temporary, and therefore their benedictions are also temporary. Prabhupada uses this word, liquidated. But Prabhupada writes that although the devatas are not worshipped, the Supreme Lord still can be pleased. One should not think, right? One should not think that by not worshipping the devas, they will become angry, God will become angry. Not like that, right? If you don't worship them, you can still worship the Supreme Lord. The devas are worshipped by those who are lusty for material benedictions. Prabhupada gives an analogy. If you're faithful to the government, why to bribe the servants? So brilliant analogy. No? If you're already faithful to Supreme Lord, no need to bribe them, right? So someone may ask, it's avidhi purvakam. It's an indirect method. So can't I worship them also? It's indirect. Why is it not recommended? Because it's unregulated, right? It's irregular. It's disrespectful to scriptures. We see sometimes those who worship so many devatas. Monday for this, Tuesday for that, this and that. They're just looking for where the perks come, and if fits their convenience, they will do it. If it doesn't fit their convenience, chalo, ye saal mein skip karenge. Isn't it? It happens like that. It's a very convenient seeking worship. Therefore, it's called irregular. In this regard, there's a nice story that someone asked the relationship between worshipping devatas and worshipping the Supreme Lord. So this story was told by a Sri Vaishnava saint. He said, like, once there was a boy who was angry with his mother, fought with his mother. He got very angry with the mother, and he stormed out of the house. He said, "I'm going to leave you. I'm not going to come back." Mother says, "Boy always does like this. He'll come back after some time." She waited. She waited. Nightfall came. The boy did not come back. My God, this today is very angry. So mother was thinking, what happened to him? Where has he gone? Mother goes out in the village looking for the boy, searches, finds the boy sleeping in front of a angan of a temple like this. As she goes near to wake up, hey boy, come home, she sees on his face anger. His brows are, still furrowed. She wants to wake him up, but she stops herself. She thinks to herself that if he is so angry now, if I wake him up, he will see me. What he will do? He will shout, he'll run away again. Now he has run around the village. He has ran around the village, but if I wake him up, he may run out to some other village. No. What is important for me? The well being of the boy. She goes back home. She cooks some nice hot meals. Maybe put in a hot pot, hot matka. I don't know what it was that time. Anyways, hot matka, hot pot, whatever. She brings some hot meals. She brings some clothes. She kept it beside the boy, but she's thinking that, if he wakes up, he may see this and he says, "Oh, mother has found me." May kick it away. What to do? So she sees the temple pujari. She calls the priest. No, Babaji, please have this. And when this boy, this small boy, wakes up, give it to him, but don't tell him it's from me. So Pujari says, okay. The boy wakes up feeling very cold, tired, hungry. Pujari comes, beta, आ जाओ, खाओ, गरम गरम खाना है. And the boy is so satisfied. In the boy's mind, who does he think has supplied this to him? The Pujari. He is so grateful to the Pujari. In reality, who has supplied? The Supreme Lord. Oh, the mother. So mother is like the Supreme Lord. The Devatas function like this because we are so envious to the Supreme Lord. We are so angry with the Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord doesn't want to disturb us. Chalo beta, koi baat nahi. Dur raho. You stay far away, but still I have my attention on you through my medium. I found his story very beautiful. Right? Therefore, we should understand that they are just agents of the Lord. We show them respect. We can get their blessings also, just like we get blessings from seniors. Just we get blessings from big people. If a big musician comes, some famous or some Baba or something, even a Mayavadi sannyasi, we want to show respect. So someone in a big position, we understand they have been blessed by the Lord. So then why not we show respect to the devatas, right? So now let us this is the first lesson that we get, that the devatas are obliged, but the Supreme Lord is independent. Even if we go on chanting million mantras, right? A million mantras a day, the Lord may come, they may not come. Right? I'm not scaring you. But this is just how it works. So let's look at the next section, text 15 and 16, which we are given today. And we'll discuss 3 more lessons from there. So the first lesson is from Brahma's benediction is that the Devatas are obliged, but the Supreme Lord is independent. Text 15 and 16. We're going to read through the Sanskrit. You can look at your shloka. It's not on the board. It's in your phones. You can read together if you like. नददर्शा प्रतिच्छन्नं वाल्मीका तृणकीचकै पिपीलिकाभिरचीर्णं मेदस्त्वान् मांसशोणितं तपन्तं तपसा लोकान् यथा भ्रापिहितं रविं विलक्ष विस्मितः प्राह हंसंस्तं हंसवाहन. The translation is like this. Lord Brahma, Hamsavahana, who is carried by the swan airplane, at first could not see where Hiranyakashipu was. So Brahma could not find him, could not locate him. For Hiranyakashipu's body was covered by an ant hill and by grass and bamboo sticks. No, it takes bamboo some time to grow, isn't it? Grass also. Just imagine, ant hill, bamboo sticks. So ant will only make their house when things don't move. That means how still was Hiranyakashipu. Even his breathing was so still that the ants would make house. If you keep moving the earth, the ant will try and after some time will give up and change. It needs some stable position. So just imagine how long and how still Hiranyakashipu was doing his austerities. This is what they want to show by making an ant hill and bamboo and all this. Continuing the translation. Because Hiranyakashipu had been there for a long time, the ants had devoured his skin, fat, flesh, and blood. He had been eaten alive, right? Because he was in one place only. You will see sometimes if some creature or animal or insect or dies, the ant goes, bite a bit, they are not harmed. So, khatam karke uta ke leke jate hai, isn't it? So, this was what was happening to Hiranyakashipu. Then Lord Brahma and the demigod spotted him resembling a cloud covered sun. How is a cloud covered sun? Start to burn, like a shine comes out behind the cloud, no? It's covered, but there's a shine. So Hiranyakashipu was like this, heating the world by his austerity. Because of his so powerful austerities, the world was becoming hot. Struck with wonder, Lord Brahma began to smile, Hasan, and address him as follows. Lord Brahma started to smile, Baapre. What Tivra Ugra Tapasya. So in this purport, we're going to see some more, 3 lessons. Let us go into the purport. Prabhupada writes, the living entity can live merely by his own power. His own means the soul's power. Without the help of skin, marrow, bone, blood, and so on. Amazing, huh? Prabhupada says that the living entity can live without all these things because Veda Vakya, Veda says, Asango hi ayam purushaha. The Purusha does not need any connection to live. Asango hi ayam Purusha. The Purusha, the soul, is always separate from these material conditions. The living entity has nothing to do with the material covering. So it is a very nice lesson. It's our second lesson for discussion. That, you know, this is a proof that we are not these bodies. That even the body is frail, destroying, what do you call that, degraded, but still life can be there, because life comes from soul, not from the heart, not from the kidneys, not from anything. Right. So we see many cases of people transcending body, especially yogis. They live on air, they live on water, they live on sunlight, they live on breathing. They don't eat anything. Right? They become so emaciated, but still they're functioning, still they're moving, they're talking, walking, they have strength, they have vigor. Yogis can do this. But devotees are not very interested in all this. Right? Seem like devotees more of a bogey. Right? Prasad comes, we don't want to thin the body, we want to fatten the body. Seems like that, but actually, because we are not interested in all this, right? The yogis are interested uh, because they want some material benediction, they want some power. But the devotees, they are not interested in all this because they have fearlessness. They are fearless from the dualities of this world, be it power, be it enjoyment, whatever it may be, right? There's a nice verse in this connection, how devotees are transcendental to the body. This is first canto, 18th verse, 50th chapter, 11850, where it's mentioned, Prayasha sadhava loke prairvande suyojita na vahante na hrishanti yata atma gunashraya. So the transcendentalists are generally the transcendentalists, the devotees, although they are engaged by others in dualities like working and this and that, this material world, they are not distressed. They are not too much averse or attracted by the functionings of this world. Nor do they take pleasure in worldly things because they are transcendently engaged. They're not too much bothered. Like we see sometimes the yogis seem to be more determined. Isn't it? So much determination to fast, to do this and that. And devotees sometimes half day fasting come, we're like, oh my God, Krishna will understand. Isn't it? So many years I've done it. I don't have to do it now. My body is important. Who looks more body conscious? The devotee, we say, look at the yogi, strict fasting. But what is his desire? That the yogi wants power, the yogi wants this, the yogi wants that. We see all this. So this is a nice second lesson, that we are not this body. Life is not dependent on his body. In future verses, you'll see how it's mentioned that he kept his life as within his bones. Right? Just haddi alone he can survive. It's very interesting actually how this can happen. So we continue reading the purport. Hiranyakashipu performed a severe type of tapasya, austerities, for many long years. Indeed, it is said that he performed the tapasya for 100 heavenly years. Since one day of the demigods equals 6 of our months, certainly this was a very long time. By nature's own way, Prabhupada says, his body had been almost consumed by earthworms, ants, and other parasites, and therefore even Brahma was at first unable to see him. Brahma cannot recognize him. Kahan hai? Isn't it? Later, however, Brahma could ascertain where Hiranyakashipu was, and Brahma was struck with wonder to see Hiranyakashipu's extraordinary power to execute tapasya. Anyone could conclude that Hiranyakashipu was dead because his body was covered in so many ways. But Lord Brahma, the supreme living being in this universe, could understand that Hiranyakashipu was alive but covered by material elements. So anyone reading this may glorify Hiranyakashipu, isn't it? We see other personalities like Ravan also, so much determined. Sometimes he's called as Yogeshwar. People say, wow, just see his determination. Right? Devotees, sometimes we are not so determined, isn't it? So we see these people's determination. Prabhupada makes an important point here in the next paragraph. But it must also be noted that although Hiranyakashipu performed these austerities for a long, long time, he was nonetheless known as a Daitya, Rakshasa. So no credit to him. Despite he has done so determined, despite he has done so much great feats which probably devotees may not do, still he was called a Rakshas. Isn't it? Why? It will be seen from verses to follow that even a great saintly person could not perform such a severe type of austerity. You will not find a devotee glorified like this. Why then was he called a Rakshasa and a Daitya? Prabhupada says, it is because whatever he did was for his own sense gratification. So the hetu, the purpose is more important than the karya, than the act itself. Right? Like sometimes we see in this world people give a lot of charity, a lot of this, but what's the purpose behind it? And sometimes we see people who may be failingly unable to perform, but they may very have sincere intentions, right? So the intention is also so important. So this comes a third lesson that we can get. First lesson we saw that the demigods are obliged. Supreme Lord is not obliged. Second lesson we saw that how actually, you know, the soul is the source of life. We do not need these bodies in one sense. Those who know the art of keeping the soul within the marrow of the bones, they can live without even the body. So we are not these bodies. Third lesson we're going to see is that everyone has to gain something by tapasya. Everyone has to gain something by tapasya, but the results of which, the results of your tapasya, good, bad, ugly, whatever it may be, depends on our intent. We have to gain something by tapasya. Nothing in this world can be achieved without some austerity. But the parinam of it will be seen with depending on your intent. We see students, so much austerity to study, yes, right? You see even bad things. Bad people, for example, thieves or robbers, they do so much austerity, yes or no? Planning. I remember one story, those days I read one thief. That thief fasted for 40 days so that he become thin so that he can go through the gate. You know, gate has this, what do you call that? Iron bars, right? So he wanted to enter. He's like, could not enter. What did he do? 40 days he did fasting, you know? Some sounds very thick, so that he could go through the iron bars. Can you imagine? Just to steal. So they do austerities. What about people like terrorists and all? So much austerity, planning, this, that, panic, tension, years maybe even of scheming and all this kind. It's a lot of austerity, isn't it? There's no peace in that. But they want to gain something. But after gaining it, right, the intent determines whether it was good or bad. So nothing great in austerity. Everyone has to do austerity, right? But what is the result of it depends on the intent. We see another example, Shastrik, like I mentioned, Ravan and all. We see Vrikasur, so much austerity, heavy austerities he did. But ultimately, what he wanted? He wanted to enjoy Parvati. So, what's the point of his austerities? So, in one sense, we see so many powerful people in society today, rich people, famous people, beautiful people. And we think, Are yaar. Sometimes parents look so ugly, the child born like a supermodel. The child born so beautiful becomes so famous. And when they show the photo of their parents, we're like, hey, how did this combination get this, you know? We understand, as devotees, we understand it's all purva karma, something the person has got, right? So we don't know. These people could have been yogis in the past life, doing austerities for hundreds of years in some Himalaya, growing beards and becoming emaciated. But their desire was, I want to be beautiful. I want to be attractive. Wherever I walk, everyone must turn their heads and look at me. And for their austerities, they become a beautiful person in this world now. Man, woman, whatever, to enjoy. Now, seeing from this point of view, if you zoom out from this point of view, as a devotee, what we feel, is it worth it or worthless? Is it worth it or pointless? Pointless, isn't it? What's the point? 40 years of austerities, 100 years of austerities, just to get one lifetime of attraction. So many years ago, I remember, and actually, even that attraction is short lived, correct? Few days ago, His Grace Hari Madhaprabhu was giving class. He was mentioning an interesting point that what was the fame or the terror of Hiranyakashipu? How long was it lived? 5 years, isn't it? Because Prahlad, he did all that austerities for 100 years of the Devatas, and he became famous for, or he became powerful for only 5 years. Because when Prahlad was 5 years old, he died. So if you think, 100 years, celestial years of austerities, only to enjoy for 5 years. So when devotees zoom out of this, time pass. Like Prabhupada says, one gulab jamun. What is the cost? $1 million. Will you buy it? Nobody in the right mind would buy it, isn't it? So similarly, I remember there was a just some years ago, there was a very famous TikToker. This was before TikTok was banned in India. There was a very famous TikToker who had 3 years of fame. 3 years of fame. He became so big. The Mumbai guy, right? Became so big. All the youths were crazy after him. And this guy had he was an overnight success. And he attracted all the boys, all the girls. Undoubtedly, I don't know he was talented or not, but he looked very good. He looked so attractive, and his style and charisma. But unfortunately, he was always telling people to swear and smoke. So all the youths I saw at that time, started following his style and flavor. And my God, is such a dangerous person. Just see the power of Lord and time. 3 years of fame, he used up his fame, which was given by God, isn't it? Who knows who he is? He must have been some Himalaya yogi in the past life, 3 lifetimes of austerity just to be famous. He became famous. He got a beautiful body by the mercy of the Lord. He misused his fame by misdirecting people. Died in an accident with no other vehicle. अपने आप गाड़ी एक्सीडेंट हो गया. He was the only one in the vehicle. 12 बजे रात को मर गया हाईवे पे. अपने आप खलास. He came up one day like a mushroom, and next day it's gone. Right? In Tamil, there's the saying, நேத்து முழிச்ச காளான். Yesterday's sprout mushroom. What's the point? Yesterday, because mushrooms, I'm not sure. We don't eat mushrooms. I'm not advocating, but I'm just saying that if you see mushroom, lifespan is very short. One night it comes out, next day it's gone, like that. So he was like a mushroom. Just think, and everyone is, the whole world is crying. Till today, he has become 10 times more famous than he was before. In 3 years, he had 6 million followers. In 3 years, 6 million followers. Now it has grown even more. So even after he's dead. Can you imagine? He's more famous after he's dead. And yet 3 years means how many videos you'll make? That time, huh? That time when TikTok was still around. How many videos? He probably had around 20, 25 videos. That's it. But probably his desire was that Krishna fulfilled his desire, but removed him, erased him from history. So pathetic, isn't it? So today we see a lot of rich people, powerful people, beautiful people. We should understand that these people are just, taking the fruits of their austerities. But for what? So when we understand this, this lesson helps us not to envy others. Else many times we envy people. So rich. उन्हें क्या किया? कुछ किया ही नहीं. बस उस घर में पैदा हुए, उस में जन्म लिया, सब मिल गया. We become envious, no? This guy didn't do anything. Just born in that house, he got everything. What is the story or what's the narrative within our hearts? Kash मेरे साथ ऐसा नहीं हुआ. Why is not happening to me? Right? You see people with not very beautiful parents, the child born so perfect nose, perfect forehead, perfect skin color. My God, so fortunate. Born beautiful. Others have to work to become beautiful, isn't it? Makeup, surgery, exercise, so much headache. Person is born beautiful. So amazing. Automatically, what comes within the heart? Irisha, envy. I also want to be like that. But when we zoom out, we understand this lesson that nothing is begotten in this world without tapasya. That person also must have done some tapasya. And if later you come to know that for the past 4 lifetimes, that person was a Himalayan yogi or some Agori Baba or some, Kumbh Mela Sant or something, then you see that Kumbh Mela Sant 3 lifetimes ago have now become a supermodel. Right? Only to work for the next 6, 8 years. Then she also becomes old. फायदा है क्या? Immediately your envy also goes away. See the power of time. Take shelter of the power of time. Kala Rupa Bhagwan. Right? So we know that Krishna has given because they are deserving. Why to be envious? Prabhupada continues the purport which we are reading at hand. His son, Prahlad Maharaj, whose son? Just checking. His son, Prahlad Maharaj, was only 5 years old. So what could Prahlad do? Yet simply by performing a little devotional service. According to the instructions of Narada Muni, Prahlad became so dear to the Lord that the Lord could save him. Whereas Hiranyakashipu, despite his austerities, was killed. Prabhupada draws here a contrast. This guy did hundreds of years, divya years of tapasya. Lord didn't like him. This boy, 5 years old, what tapasya he did, Lord protected him. Prabhupada writes this line next. That is the difference between the devotional service and other methods of perfection. Important line. One who performs severe austerities for sense gratification is fearful to the entire world. One who performs severe austerities of sense gratification is for sense gratification is fearful. We saw the example of terrorists who do so much of austerities, but for their sense gratification, to put our name, to put our mark, for me to conquer. They create a great bhaya, fear in the world. Whereas, proper contrast, a devotee who performs even a slight amount of devotional service is a friend to all. Suhirdam sarvabhutanam. So, which is better? Years of austerities or slight devotional service? Slight devotional service. One automatically softens the heart. We know that so much austerity also make the heart hard. We have austerities in devotional life, which is important to make us serious. Because without any austerities, you cannot gain anything. Without any austerities, you cannot maintain your determination. So we have little austerities. What is our austerities? Four negative principles, right? Ekadasi, some fasting here and there, some number of chanting. These are little austerities. Since the Lord is the well wisher of every living being, and since a devotee assumes the qualities of the Lord, a devotee also acts for everyone's good fortune by performing devotional service. So here Prabhupada is saying that basically a devotee is like a representative of the Supreme Lord, right? Thus, although Hiranyakashipu performed such severe austerities, he remained a Daitya and a Rakshasa. So today's world, we see people who may be very beautiful, powerful, rich, but they may not have a devotional intent. So are they not also Daityas and Rakshasas? They may be very beautiful, powerful, in one sense, right? Very good mannered, very nice people even. But the intent here is what makes you a Daitya or a Rakshasa. We see devotees, so-called. They come into devotional life sometimes, but they also want to be power, want to create. Prabhupada says the first snare of Maya is that you think you're the body. What is the last snare of Maya? Prabhupada writes it many times. Yeah, first snare of Maya that you think you're the body. Last snare of Maya, snare means catching, like trap, snare. The first snare of Maya is you think you're the body. The last snare of Maya, you think you're God. What comes in between? I want to enjoy, I want to control, I want to be powerful, I want to be famous, I want to be guru, then I want to be God. So all this comes in between. So devotees also practice devotion life. If we are in this between, then we are also Daitya and Rakshasa mentality in one sense. Whereas Prahlad Maharaj, although born of the same Daitya father, he became the most exalted devotee and personally protected by the Supreme Lord. Bhakti is therefore called Sarvopadi Vinirmuktam. Sarva Upadi Vinirmuktam is a nectar of devotion, Bhaktira Samhita Sindhu thing. Right? Sarva Upadi Vinirmuktam, one who becomes free from all designations. Can Prahlad Maharaj be called a Daitya now? Can Prahlad Maharaj be called a Rakshasa? No. He's a devotee. Because devotion life means Sarva Upadi Vinirmuktam. Indicating that a devotee is freed from all material designations and Anyabilashita Shunyam. He's situated in the transcendental position, free from all desires. So just summarizing this section, this is the fourth lesson we get from this purport, how the difference between sense gratification and devotional service. Both require some austerity. Austerities for sense gratification, austerities for devotional service. So we'll compare. You can, in your mind, you can imagine a table, sense gratification, austerity, sense gratification, austerities in devotional service, right? Imagine a table. First point, austerities in sense gratification, austerities for sense gratification are scary. Yes or not? Like Vrikasur, he got this power and he started. It is scary. Why? Because you're always trying to exploit others. You're doing austerities to exploit others. Like sometimes there's a lot of story of people doing black magic. They'll sit in one place. I'm not teaching you, I'm just saying. They'll sit in one place and do so-called puja and this and that for years together, just to harm that person. So much austerities here, a lot of money, time, isn't it? Some people, they go to the graveyard and they dig up a dead body to use all this kind of things. It's all black magic stuff. Isn't it not effort? मेहनत ना, रात को जाना पड़ेगा, कोई पकड़ ना जाए. You have to dig, make sure you don't get scared first, isn't it? Do all this kind of things. So Lord, so their austerities is for exploitation because it is selfish. Now if you contrast devotional austerities, it is friendly. The others are scary, this is friendly. A devotee does austerities, but they become, create friendliness with others. People become, they like them. For example, we see sometimes a beautiful example here only, because devotees practice, so even the animals come towards them. Although we may not be wanting them to come, but they do come. They find it non-threatening, isn't it? They find them non-threatening. Have you not seen animals in the city? The cows and the bulls, they're very fearful because the whole life people have been torturing them. Devotee who practice austerities, they become friendly. Why? They don't seek to exploit, they seek to elevate. There's a difference, exploitation and elevation. We seek to elevate others, not to exploit others. People keep pets. I'm having a long discussion with one uh, animal rights friend of mine. So people keep pets to make them submissive, to exploit them, to control them. Doggy, come here. It gives me sense gratification. Devotees may keep pets, like we have so many animals here. In one sense, they are not our pets, but we take care of them. But our desire is also to see them elevate. Yes or not? Sometimes they come to the temple, take darshan. Boले, darshan ho gaya, chalo, 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 niklo. है ना? Or we give them prasad only. So a devotee in that sense, their austerities, their difficulties we are doing, want to elevate, because there is selflessness. That is the first. Next, sense gratification, austerities for sense gratification does not create any good fortune for anyone. Does not create any good fortune. You're doing austerities to enjoy something. There's no good fortune, right? It destroys the self. It destroys others also. There was once this very powerful or rich, I don't know which is it, but he's like, he has thousands of women which he enjoy. Powerful person, rich, maybe business person, or I don't know. So he has so much women which every day he enjoys, and all these young girls are coming to him, although he's an old man, because he has money. And someone from outside is thinking, wow, this guy is enjoying, this girl's also enjoying. But in reality, he's exploiting or destroying his own body. Ultimately, he died of some, STD. And the girls also, he's just exploiting them. So destroying yourself and destroying others, isn't it? Whereas sense gratification, austerities in devotional service create Vishwa Kalyanam, create actually good being in the whole society. Devotees who perform austerities, they actually improve the entire atmosphere. Many people, when they come to GEV, Golden Equilibrium, any temple of Srila Prabhupada, or any temple in general also, they feel like, Prabhu, यहाँ का vibes बहुत अच्छा है. Now modern day term, na vibes, isn't it? Vibes बहुत अच्छा है. So it's because of, the austerities of devotees who keep chanting, practicing. It's Vishwa Kalyanam. Last point, austerities for sense gratification is sarvopadi samyuktam. It binds you to more designation. Because when a person does austerity, he identifies himself. I'm a yogi, I'm a baba, I'm a aghori, I'm a this, I'm a that. He becomes more identified with his position, right? The student becomes, who studies so hard, I'm a doctor. Isn't it? Like sometimes people who do not enter medical school, they may end up doing dentistry. And they feel like dentistry is second class. Correct, Adikesha bro? They feel like dentistry is like, they feel maybe second class. Everyone says the MBBS guy is like doctor. To dentist hai kya? If someone calls it doctor, please come, he feels. So of course he's a doctor only. It's a different feel of minds. So the more austerities you do, someone studies so hard, does all these things. Sarvopadi samyuktam. He wants to identify with that upadi only. So austerities for sense gratification make you more bound to the upadis. But austerities for devotional service is sarvopadi vinirmuktam. As we perform devotional service, we don't want to identify. Like sometimes people ask, Prabhuji, what did you do before? Oh, Prabhu, you're this and that, you studied this and that, or you're from this and that family. Like, I don't even remember what I studied. Isn't it? I don't even remember what I do. Doesn't make any sense. We know the reality of it, isn't it? There's nothing to be proud of it. I know how I got through that Viva. Nobody knows, but I know how I got through. Isn't it? So we are not proud of it. So Sarvopadi Vinirmuktam. Like that. We'll end with the last shloka, which is talking about how goal of life is not for sense gratification but self-realization, which is in theme with our fourth lesson. So there's a verse that comes in the first canto, second chapter, 10th verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. कामस्य नेन्द्रिय प्रीतिर्लाभो जीवेत यावता Jivasya tattva jigyasam narto yascheha karma. He said life is not meant for indriya priti, but life is meant for tattva jigyasa. Human life is not meant for gratifying the senses that you can get in any species. There are 8.4 million, 84 lakh species to choose from. So, kamasya na indriya priti. Life is not meant for gratifying your senses. Life is meant for tattva jigyasam, to inquire higher things in life. Be intelligent, they say like that. So, I'll just summarize what we discussed today. In 3 verses, 2 purports, we solved 4 lessons. Okay, in 3 verses and 2 purports, we saw 4 lessons. The first lesson is how devatas are obliged, but the Supreme Lord is not obliged. So there we discuss how the purpose of devata worship. We discuss so many things about how is it avidhi purvakam, why. We saw some stories how the relationship, why Lord keeps devatas. Like that, we had a quite a good discussion on that. Second lesson, we saw that how we are not these bodies, that life itself actually does not depend on this body. One knows the trick, like how Hiranyakashipu could keep his uh, soul circulating within his bones. So we also understand that we are not this body. Third lesson, we saw that everyone needs to gain something by tapasya. Without austerities, you cannot gain. But the result of which depends on our intent. The result can be good or bad. It depends on our intent. But tapasya is needed. Without austerity, you cannot gain anything. Fourth lesson, we saw the result, the difference of the result. Devotional tapasya and sense gratification tapasya. So we saw the two difference. Devotional tapasya is very friendly, pleasing, helpful for all, elevates yourself, elevates others. But tapasya in sense gratification, it's very selfish. It destroys yourself. It destroys others also. So like this, just sharing from the beautiful purports of Srila Prabhupada, so much lesson Srila Prabhupada has given us, so much gyan in just these few verses for us to reflect, contemplate, and pray that we all can try to improve our lives, help those around us, take the blessings of everyone. Right. So I would like to end here. If anyone has any questions or points for discussion or clarification, I'm sorry if this seems to be so much, but Srila Prabhupada is a very rich man. He likes to give rich things. He gives rich prasadam, he gave us rich culture, he gave us rich purport also. Every line practically is so powerful. Hare Krishna. His Grace Adi Keshav Prabhu doing some service. So humble.
Like Brahmaji, if he wanted, he could have tricked Hiranyakashipu the way he did for Kumbhakarna. So how is that, Kumbhakarna, the demigod says, no, don't give him any benediction, already he's creating havoc. So then he called, Mother Saraswati, and so what we heard in the class today is they are helpless. If they have everything, then they have to give whatever they ask for. So, but there are cases where they have tricked them.
So probably one case that we think of, in many places we see they are quite helpless. So we don't know the backstory. Could be the Lord's desire who gave Brahma the idea, sent Saraswati. You sit on. I already have to deal with so many brothers. एक तो शांत करो, बाद में देखेंगे. We don't know whether how the Lord's hand in this, because when suddenly someone gets a spurti, someone gets a what do you call a spurti? Inspiration in the heart. Actually, it's a reminder from Paramatma only, right? Sometimes we are walking, we're like, oh, I forgot my this, and we go back. It's a reminder from Paramatma. It's the Lord's grace. Actually, we cannot remember anything on our own. We're not smart. So this is one case we see, but in general, the underlining rule is that the devatas are bound. They are obliged. So maybe it's a, I don't know the backstory. Maybe, perhaps. If there's any other incidents, yeah. He needs mic.
Yeah. So if one's intent is not good, so what is to be done in order to purify that intent?
This is a very powerful question. So sometimes we have bad intents. That's natural, no? Wrong. Because how intents are created, how our hetu or how our inclination is created? By the Sangha, by the people around us. You see everyone doing this, you also want to do that, desires come up. Past desires, these are all past desires from past life. I want to be famous, I want to be powerful. Someone recognize me. Right? I mean, we may not say it, but it's screaming within the heart and within the mind. So, how to purify this intent is the association of the devotees, where one becomes humble, one realizes the truth. Krishna will say, "You want this so much, go get it. Become temple president, become regional director, become this, become guru." But then we find difficulty in our lives. We find adverses, we find obstacles, rukavat. We find some problems in our life. Then we realize these problems are actually Krishna's very loving, fondling taps. And I told you not to go this way, not to go this way. Why you're heading this way? Turn, turn, turn. But the headstrong jiva overlooks all this problem, right? Even despite be warning once, warning twice, warning thrice, still he goes. I was just suddenly remembered that okay, let's not talk about others also. Let's talk about our own society, right? Let's talk about our own temple also. So, there was one boy who was junior than us in Chobati, junior than us. So he wanted to join the ashram. Seniors told that you're not fit. Based on their experience, they are experienced people. They one look, they understand. This boy got really offended. Instead of taking the advice of the seniors, he got really offended. Why are they stopping my dedication? So he said that now I'm going to go to a different state and I'll preach there. So he told the senior that, okay, you're not allowing me to join, no problem. I want to go to a different state and I'll preach in my own mother tongue, my language. So senior said, okay, go there, but take shelter for devotee. The devotee goes, take shelter for some time. One temple, again same issue comes, conflict with authority. In one temple, he was sent to another temple. Again, second temple, conflict of authority. He went to a third temple. And after serving some time, by this time, now 5-6 good years have passed. He has amassed a lot of followers, a lot of people, congregation, this and that. Slowly, slowly, he starts growing his dadi. He has taken initiation by now. He started wearing saffron by now. Everything is there. But moving from 3 temples. After the third temple, where they had to tell him that please leave, Prabhu, because you are a little different. Now he's a guru. Now he's giving initiations. He has become a guru. Right? This was a boy who used to be much junior than us, who used to do sound system work in our temple in Chowpatty. Right? Fix the sound system. Now he has become guru. And he has thousands and hundreds of people following him, listening to his kathas and classes, taking initiation from him. Young boy. Right? So can you imagine? So if the desire, the headstrong desire of the jiva is so much, Krishna says, go, go. But did Krishna not correct you? Did Krishna not help you? Did Krishna not show you through the seniors, through the devotees? यहाँ भी प्रॉब्लम, वहाँ भी प्रॉब्लम, उधर प्रॉब्लम, थोड़ा सुधरो ना. प्रॉब्लम किसका है? वातावरण नहीं, हम में. Right? So Krishna will always guide us. We have to be a little open to understanding the message. That message we can understand if we have the good counsel of devotees. So many devotees spoke. Many devotees told him again and again and again. Still don't want to listen. This is what happened to Ravana, isn't it? So many people told him, don't, mat karo, mat karo. Didn't want to do still. Dhritarashtra, so many people told him so many things, didn't want to listen. So we have so many examples from Shastra. Therefore, although we are devotees, right, we should be very clear with our intent. And sometimes we may go wrong, wanting this, wanting that. If it's not very serious, Krishna says go. But you waste time, you waste energy, you waste effort. So come back, have a pure intent. So when things go wrong in our life, it is Krishna's grace. Krishna is putting us on the right path. When things go wrong, it is chances to do right. जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.